Okay, good morning. We are now back to our live part because this was recorded for the sake of clarity. Yes, Devlin, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, today is our last session, but definitely I hope it's going to be one of many that will be continuing into other ventures. So nice to see you all come on time and share with me the knowledge and also your experiences with gardening. Today we'll cover two topics in detail. Good morning, Kaval Masi. We are going to leave it interactive a little bit today, so I'll be requesting all of you to also help me into understanding if you have understood. So that's going to be your part.
Right.
Yes.
Good morning.
So we'll quickly start this presentation so that you can finish the practical side of it. We played the two videos and we showed you how the wire structure is supposed to be made if you are interested into making that kind of vertical growth, which I think is really a good idea, especially if you have the sun coming up on top and front of your house. It helps even in the temperature control. So in a deserted climate that we are in Kutch, the temperatures sometimes touch even 45 to 48 degrees, and that's a really a very inconvenient type of temperature even for the air conditioners. So one natural way of getting rid of that is 3D structures so the vines can climb up. The reason why the vines keep the surface cool is because each and every leaf has a small hole which is called the stomata, which removes exchange of gases are happening, and also small tiny holes that remove the water. So transpiration is happening when you leave water outside in a utensil. Naturally what happens is a chemical reaction which is taking place, that's called evaporation, and where water turns into basically vapor. But when you leave it to the plants, you feed the plants, then what happens is transpiration. So transpiration is the evaporation or the release of water from the underneath the leaves, and that travels as a coolness for the part which is below it. So every time you are standing below a neem tree or a big tree, you will feel this sort of coolness there. We also usually look for a tree to park our cars under. So this is one of the reasons, because each and every leaf has a small tiny hole in which it's as we perspire, also as we sweat, each and every leaf has a small opening. And at a microjet level, if you can use that words, microjets are releasing small amount of water so that the leaf stays cool, and in the process whatever is under the leaf also stays cool. So a really great way of keeping your house temperature in control. So I will just share the slides. We have a couple of videos still to go, and then after that we will just take some sort of experiences and values from you. What you have learned from us, we would like to know, and I would like you to share also with me. So before that, we'll just complete some slides that are left. Are you able to see the? Yes, okay. So this is the type of gardening that we were going to talk about. Two of them already we have covered there, and let me just see if I have the pointer. Yes, so these two are covered in the video that we had shown. The terrace gardening in containers, it's obviously very simple. You just use the plastic containers that you have, um, and you use the clay pots that you have, and you can use that on your terrace or on the corner of your veranda or those kind of places. And what you need to understand is that these are disattached from the um, earth's what is it called, mothering, the earth's cosmic vibrations and all this, so they are disattached from that. So every plant which is disattached with the earth's surface, there is some sort of lacking that happens, and we need to understand this also. Before we started the course, we talked about grounding, and we shared a movie clip into how grounding when our body get um, inflamed. I mean, if we have an inflammation, it goes away with grounding. There were studies of that, and they proved that in a way. So similar thing happens. There are cosmic waves and radiations of the earth. There is a warmth to the earth's surface, और the मट्टी मिट्टी जो होती है अर्थ के साथ जुड़ी है उसके साथ, तो उसमें एक तरह का warmth भी रहता है, which the microbials and bacteria also are finding useful. When we put them in the pots, we are awaying them from the earth. So you need to take care of this. You can obviously grow the pots, the trees in the pots and the plants in the pots, but you also need to aware that since you are taking this, minusing this from the pots and minusing this from the plants, you will have some sort of lack in size of fruit or the amount of fruit that is happening as compared to when something is grown inside the earth. So a simple hack was to put a small piece of wire and it goes to the ground, and that's how they were grounding the patients in the hospital, and that had very positive results. You can try that also, but today's urban areas have this problem, and we need to also sort it out. So this is one way of doing it into containers. As we said, that the roots distribute themselves according to the environment that it is has. So if it is finding that the end has been reached, so the container is just so much size, but the root structure actually are very very deep, and they combine with other fungi to exchange nutrients. So it's like fungus distributes its tentacles inside the roots and feed on the plant, and the plant in turn returns the favor by giving it glucose. So actually the roots might not be connected with the plant, but they are indirectly connected through the fungi. So sometimes you will see when you remove a plant, there's some white threads, very tiny threads. That's the mycorrhiza. The mycorrhiza are the fungus type of growth that happens inside a good composting soil, which actually are just tentacles of a fungus and going out and taking the nutrients from all over the place. So this is again limited in a pot, but we can always replenish this by giving it good compost and good amount of organic waste to the potted plants. Um, one things that we are going to actually not cover in this course, but maybe in the advanced course, was the hydroponics, because this is too technical. We discussed yesterday that it requires pumps, it requires timers, it requires filter systems, it requires initial capital investment of making the structure. So obviously, it has its own fruiting. It has a sort of a very good harvest system. People are showing and making videos of it, but this is again, if you're limited in space and if you don't have the soil or the earth with you, then you can go with this kind of plantations. You will have to stick with seeds that are basically hybrid for this, because the natural seeds, they will always have the big roots and they start to come out. They'll not be accustomed to the sort of soillessness that is there, because there is just some sort of liquid that is going in the hydroponics. And obviously the hydroponics liquid also itself is not exactly found easily. You need to go and buy it from the shops. So a lot of technical details are required for that. It's just a way of awareing you that there is some way of growing plants also, and that is called hydroponics. Similar is with the aeroponics. This is basically spraying small jets of food material at every regular intervals, and the roots are just staying in the air and they're covered up, but the roots are inside a container, and there are small jets inside the container that they're spraying the nutrients on the roots, and there is no soil at all. So both of these have this advantage of not having the bulkiness of the soil transported at the top of the roof or wherever you want to have them growing. But they also have the lacking of not able to be so easy to manage, and as in they are very technical. They have to be on backup systems. You need a battery supply system in just in case if the power goes out. So a little bit technical if you ask me. Okay, so we discussed garden towers yesterday. I would like to show you a small video. It's just a minute long, probably a little bit longer than that, but it's worth watching it how it works. The garden tower is actually a miniaturization of what we have talked about of how converting compost into soil and back into soil using microorganisms and earthworms. So this was a really good investment if you are planning to make it. If you have a couple of these in your verandas, they look good also aesthetically. um, they will work well even if the temperatures are too low or too high, simply because there is compost going inside the container through this hole here on top. So we'll just take a look at this video how it works, and we'll get a glimpse of exactly its functioning, and we can actually incorporate this in our home systems.
We have designed a vertical 50-plant container gardening system that uses your kitchen scraps to create its own organic fertilizer. It can grow food right on your deck or patio and grow significantly faster than conventional gardening because it provides the plant roots steady access to nutrient-dense water. Anywhere there's sun or artificial grow lights, you can have a garden. The tower arrives fully assembled. You fill it with quality potting soil like a regular gardening container. Then place seeds or starter plants on top and in each of the 45 holes around its periphery. This means you can grow 50 plants vertically from a single tower in a very small area like your balcony, patio, sidewalk, rooftop, or greenhouse. The tower's height enables gardeners to stand up or sit, which means the towers are perfect for seniors and those with physical limitations. The user gradually fills the center tube with kitchen scraps, adding worms to accelerate the process. As the worms break down the compost, they produce vermicompost or worm castings, a very high quality organic fertilizer and conditioner. The worm's digestive enzymes also distribute beneficial microbes to help create a living soil environment for healthy plant growth. The center composting tube contains 28 small holes running down its length. These allow the worms to travel back and forth through the entire structure. The continuous movement of worms through the composting tube and around the tower distributes healthy worm manure that creates channels for steady aeration throughout the soil. Through this process, the soil is renewed continuously. The gardener waters the plants in the traditional way by pouring it on top. Some of the water seeps through the 28 holes in the compost tube and filters through the vermicompost. The remaining water filters through the potting soil and eventually reaches each level of plants. As gravity carries water through the system, excess water drains out and is collected by a small container placed beneath the tower. This water contains leached nutrients from the soil and enriched compost tea from the active vermiculture, which can then be poured back on top to fertilize the plants. The tower's design also drastically reduces evaporation and ensures that the plant roots have steady access to nutrient-dense water. So here's the result. The continuous generation of nutrients, along with stable hydration, creates the ideal environment for rapid plant growth. For areas of water scarcity especially, this is a dramatic breakthrough. Food experts are increasingly warning that the world is entering the beginning stages of a global and long-term food crisis. Hundreds of millions of people around the world, including millions of Americans, will feel the pressure to begin to grow their own food for the first time. The question is how? Traditional gardening is labor-intensive and difficult for seniors, typically requiring soil preparation, tilling, and weeding. Due to restricted availability of water and nutrients, food grows at a conventional pace, and significant water may be required due to evaporation and drainage into the earth beneath plant roots. Thanks to its innovative, efficient design and ease of use, the garden tower is a breakthrough gardening solution for millions of people who want, need, or may soon have to grow a portion of their own food. Our garden tower has been rigorously tested by ourselves, by members of our community, as well as by several master gardeners. And now we have come up with the next generation model that's easier to use, rotatable, more attractive, cheaper to make, and most importantly, can be made in mass quantities, thereby reaching many more people than with our first generation model.
Okay, since it's getting too much into advertising, I think we'll stop there. We need to just understand the concept. So basically, what the garden tower does is converts your organic wastes into soil and vermicompost, and that in turn is just removed from the equipment from below, and you just put it back on the sides. So that's a very neat way, if you ask me, how to recycle your own garden waste before going and leaving your home or throwing it away, and we're getting worried about rats or something like that, as Didi mentioned yesterday. The one more part of or one more way of growing your own garden is through the window gardens, or window farms as they're called. So we'll just look into that. So window farms are basically just sort of bottles converted into planters, and a sort of systems are left there. There's a small timer that switches on the pump, and the water is taken from that bucket and goes up and keeps on feeding the bottles. So we'll just see how they work. Let me just show you what they look like. So this is the how they look like. These are just basically plastic bottles, and they have some plants growing, and they are facing the window. And this is just recycling the bottles. So this is another unique way. If you don't have any place at all, if you don't even have a balcony, and you just have windows, so this is a great way of having your at least your minimum requirements of mint leaves or coriander leaves or methi leaves. You can have it growing in your windows like this. So we'll have a look into how they make it or how it functions.
This is today's Green Minute, and I'm Jim Parks. Britta Riley lived about as far from a farm as you can get in a small New York City apartment. But Britta had a window with sunshine and some knowledge of hydroponics. So she and her friends built a window farm out of plastic water bottles. It's a really simple idea. A pump at the bottom sends liquid nutrients up to the top so that they can trickle down through plants' root system, which are suspended in clay pellets. The problem was that it was loud, leaky, and power hungry. So Britta did something amazing. She asked the whole world to improve the design by creating a social media website where people were free to throw in their ideas and experiment with window farms. And people responded, and the design evolved. The website involved over 30,000 people from all over the world, and now you can buy a window farm or build one by visiting here. Window farms are a source of really local food, but more important is the idea that open source collaboration on the internet allows us to come together to build on each other's work. You can call it R&D IY.
So that was window farms and window gardens, how they are made, and the minimum requirement for that is just plastic bottles. We had made them. There is a small pump that they required. Somebody had invented an idea of using a fish airing pump. So those pumps that are used in the aquariums, which pump the water for the fish. So somebody had the idea of pumping air into that liquid, so the liquid used to travel up towards from the tubes using air. So there was no water pump there needed. There was just a fish aquarium pump which used to pump the air. So that was more silent, and it used to transport the water, in the whole window farm. So that was another good example that we can make in our homes. And the websites and everything will be shared if you had missed them. Rita has one of the best examples of what collaboration means. she managed to not only connect with an idea, but to connect with more than 30,000 people, as the video says. So imagine 30,000 ideas, or at least half of them giving an idea, and how they that improve the on that idea, and then now they have a website on it of where they show you how to get the things done, and starting from scratch. So that's a really good website to visit if you want to make window farms. So we are now almost nearing the end, and I hope if there are any questions we can cover, or maybe you can have a small discussion now, because we've actually covered a lot, and we are now just sitting at the end of now where to start and how we will start. So if you have any questions, or if you have any comments, what you've learned from this course, I would highly appreciate it. We have a small discussion right now, and after that, at the end, maybe we will just discuss of where we can go forward and how we'll go forward from here. So a little bit of interactivity from you would be appreciated. Let me know what you need to learn again, or maybe I can make a short video of something that you want to learn again. We missed the part about how the moon affects the gardening. The full moon, when it's near the earth, it attracts the water, so the water rises and goes towards the moon, is attracted towards the moon. So that's the right time to plant a seed. So I'll make a video on that, and I'll definitely share it into the group. Apart from that, let's have let's share our experiences. Who would like to go first about our home gardening experience? Tolmasi, you would like to share?
Janak, yeah, hello everybody.
Yes, hello.
I love the course the every detailing of it, whichever you have told us,
Mhm.
and we will be, continuously watching your videos,
Mhm.
these class videos,
Right.
and then we will, I think practically if we will be doing, then we'll come to know of many other things, right?
Exactly.
Then we
Yeah.
can have many questions with you also,
Mm.
and certain things which really I'm very happy with the one which you made with the cow dung slurry, and that I will definitely put that. If other things are still, I think, a bit complicated, but I'll try this first of all. This
Yes.
is very simple, and I think this was very you said that this is really going to help a lot.
Right.
And then I will I don't I've got a place enough, so I am thinking which corner should I acquire for these vegetables and all that. And
Right.
because till now I was planting them in the pots only, you know
Right. Hmm.
so no doubt the yield is, the quantity is always very less.
Right. Right.
Then we think that if we are eating only this much organic, so still it will help us our body,
Hmm.
to. So I will try to grow certain things which will really give me a lot quantity also.
Right.
With this, and I'll make one corner of my garden as organic, and I will call my friends and just. But the practical I will be doing in this,
Hmm.
from the February March, because still it's very cold over here.
Right.
So I'll be starting this from the February. I'll start growing the summer vegetables by that time.
Right.
And and you have given us so much knowledge. And if we'll be having any problems, we will always uh, call you, or
Definitely.
keep
Definitely.
asking questions, right?
Yes.
So thank you so much, Jana. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. I think my group will be more active after it ends actually than it is right now. So after we get this started, we will have more questions and more queries coming in. So I'm ready for that also. We are definitely going to be open for a long time. And as Kamal Masi said, that we need to not only just make for ourselves, but when we have it in abundance, we are willing to share. So when that cap factor comes in, then the sharing happens with technical fruit. So somebody will come and say, okay, where are you growing this, where are you getting this from? and then the cycle continues of, okay, this is how you garden, this is how you recycle, this is how composting happens. So they'll get to learn like that once they taste the fruit. So definitely this is one of the reasons how why we made the garden first. My garden is at least 3 years old. So all you see the twirls and the vines that have gone up of the Giloy plant and Amrita, they are actually 3 years old and they are still evergreen. And I don't think they are dying out anytime. Every time the leaves fall, when the condition is right, this sprout up again, every year. So yeah, thank you very much. Uh,
And I would love to make the last one pot, with so many. I want to grow the flowers in that,
right.
with
Yeah.
and how to make exactly of which material, what should I use in that?
Yes, I'll share a DIY, well, a do-it-yourself video on it. It's basically a garden tower. I believe you're saying about the garden tower, which has the 50
Yeah,
plants, right? Huh.
yeah, yeah.
So there is a do-it-yourself version. There are ways, of course, the ones they are talking about, they are ones that they are selling there in America. So that's too complicated to import here. I don't know if they have people who are bringing them here in major cities, but garden towers are. Yeah, I'll just put a post a video on it. It's technically about a year, sorry, an hour long video, and you can see how they're making it, and you need a technical person for that to make that actually, who is aware of, yeah, plastic and how to heat up the plastic and then put the sockets and make the holes. So yeah,
Yes.
technical
Okay.
is up. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Neeru Didi, you'd like to say something?
Today I'm not in a position to say anything because I am, you know, babysitting.
Okay.
I can.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear that?
Yes. Okay, so what we will request Neeru Didi is to give us maybe a testimonial on a recording afterwards so that we can share in the group. It's one of our small tokens that we carry, badge मिल जाता है हमको छोटा सा कि हाँ, we did this with this many people. So it's always appreciated, and we always find comfort and joy in this. And I look forward to uh, people sharing their testimonials and how they feel, maybe even connected with your pictures and videos and before pictures and after pictures. That would be really great. um, Devlin Didi, are you able to
Yeah,
comment?
hi, Janak. I just
Yes.
want to say that thank you so much for initiating us into home gardening.
Yes.
I think it's just the beginning for us,
Right.
and we are going to come back to you again and again and again. And we are very, very lucky and blessed to have an experienced,
Mm.
educated organic farmer with us.
Right, thank you.
So we are blessed and we are going to, it's just the beginning, as I said. So
Yeah.
I am going to make a video of my garden and share it with you.
Right.
And this is going to be a back and forth
Yes.
because all the knowledge that you have,
Yeah.
it's very, very valuable.
Right.
And we are all very keen to, do something about it and make
Yes.
our gardens flourish and connect deeply with Mother Earth.
Right.
So
Right.
thank you for this beautiful initiative, and may you have many more to go. Many
Yes.
more people connect with you. So
Yes.
thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you very much.
And I'm
uh,
so excited to make that slurry also, which you've shared. So every time I look at my plant, I was like, okay, I
uh,
need to make this. So
uh,
these small, small things and so much of depth also that you shared, it's
right.
really very, very valuable. So thank you so
Right.
much for
Right.
making the slides, bringing everything together.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
I think the best part would be when you are mixing that slurry with your hands, and then you're going in your home back smelling all like with cow dung and all that, because that happens with me. So that's the
Yeah,
thing.
I will
So
definitely use a stick, Jana.
but I'll tell you one more thing. These microbes and bacteria and viruses that we are saying, somehow we were connected with them. And I don't think that the villagers have any problem connecting with these, with because they used, their hands to pick up the cow dung. And
yeah,
indirectly, they used to go into their hands. सो कभी भी ये जो जितने भी अभी प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही है, सिकनेसेस आ रही है, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू क्लेम एनीथिंग, but just see, what happens. I'll share a video deliberately on the group, which is called cow therapy. इसमें क्या होता है, there is a group in Sweden which keeps a couple of cows in their farm, and then people just come in that farm and they just stay with a cow for like half an hour, 1 hour, and they charge something like, I don't know, $100 or something like that. So just गाय के साथ बैठने के लिए they are giving $100 there. And here we are having cows left, right, and center, and कोई उसको वो नहीं कर रहा है. So this is also, very ironic actually कि हाँ, what we
True.
have we're not aware of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So definitely. So I'll share also the learnings and summarize this whole course. I would like to make a small color slideshow for you also to keep with you, so that you can have a summary, of the points that I made here. Because I think it's a lot of technical knowledge, as I'm feeling it myself. Because this is actually a 6 months course. It was condensed down to 1 month, and then further now it has been condensed down to just 5 days. So obviously there'll have to be places where it will be too technical, too boring, but nevertheless everything is really important. And as Kamal Masi had caught on to that, and Divli Didi has also caught on to that, that the slurry, which is the microorganisms, which are the creators of the millions and millions of elements and compounds that the plant needs. So now those microbes are the ones that are going to do that. So we need to give them due diligence, and they have to be appreciated for their work. So definitely we need to take care of that, and take care of them is by multiplying them, giving them the food, and you will see a lot of changes and a lot of flourishings and a lot of fruiting inside your gardens and farms. So yeah.
Also, Janak, the
Yes.
recordings will be available for a few days.
Haha, we will
Okay.
not just close them up, because I have no point or any profit from that. We will just leave it open. You can keep on coming to them.
Okay.
It's indirectly your material now, because you are there with me through the course. So I'm not going to close them up. Just that when you are sharing, share it with your family members first, and I
Hmm.
request you do the experiment first. Then maybe you can share it with others. So
Yeah,
that's what will happen is you'll have an example to give.
exactly.
So that's I
No, I
can.
just want to go back to the recordings again. One, I missed the
Yes.
yesterday session. So
Right,
I
right.
want to listen to that and
Haha.
make notes. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
definitely,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, because they're technical, I'm leaving it on YouTube. Yeah.
All right, great.
Yes. Okay, so just to give you a small summary, in fact, I'll make that slide available into the group. So we'll just actually just go ahead, and I'm trying to sort of start a new thing, and I'll just like to give you a couple of minutes on that. So as this course ends, there's something that I've written on this piece of paper that I would like to read for you. This is just in the morning, like I just thought of doing this, and it's called Sunday courses. So it's like 2 hour courses that I'm thinking of doing every Sunday, and this will actually be open for even kids. So like adults can join in, and the kids can join in also, because on Sundays that's when they are free, and that's when they are actually able to connect if anything is going online, and they're able to learn new ways and understand new ways and new concepts according to their textbook also, but they'll be getting it from a holistic point of view. So like this will be my experience going with it. So I'll just give you a rundown of what I thought and jotted down. The first thing is called the 8 R's. So that's like recycle, reduce, and reuse. We are just aware of the 3 R's. So then there's repurpose, and then there's regift, and then um, regift, repurpose, reduce, recycle. Uh, Yes, repurpose. So the 8 R's are we going to we're going to talk about that, how we can implement those small ideas into our homes. And I believe if we take in with the kids, these concepts are really important. So it will be like just dedicated on the 8 hours, 2 hour courses. Um, on Sundays, I'll just break it down afterwards. but I think it's really important. And then there's another one called to solution from pollution. So the word solution is kept first deliberately because the pollution is out there. So we need to learn about some of the solutions, so simple concepts of how we can reduce the pollution in this world, how we can and all of these are interlinked. If you look at it indirectly, the pollution is happening because we're not recycling or we're not repurposing. So they all of them interlinked, but they stand on their own ground also. So that'll be like pollution, how do we reduce that, then the solutions, how to implement them also. The another thing is called water is life. Now this will be covering like rainwater harvesting, how you can implement this in your homes, how you can convert your tanks into rainwater garden, rainwater harvesting tanks, and what kind of filter methods you need to use for that. Another one I thought of was black gold. Now we covered this indirectly. A couple of, I think maybe half an hour, we talked about this indirectly or directly. Black gold is the new gold that we need to concentrate on, and that's basically compost and soil which is full of microorganisms and humus. So how to maintain it, what is required to make it, how productive it gets. So this again is interlinked with recycling and reusing and repurposing your organic waste. Another thing is I am finding interesting, and I have expertise in this, is called tools, using and understanding basic DIY tools. So this will be like the drill machine, the screwdrivers. What is the difference between a star screwdriver and a flat screwdriver? So which one should you use where? What is a fine thread? What is a rough thread? So this is kind of different things that you need to understand also. What is a drill bit which is used in wood as compared to a drill bit which is used in masonry places like a wall, or drilling a hole in a wall or something. So tools, using and understanding basic DIY tools. So that'll be like mostly for the adults, but also the kids will find it very interesting, I think. And then there'll be the cycles of nature. um, these cycles will be the cycles that we talked of. A couple of them we talked in the group of home gardening also. We talked about the nitrogen cycle first, we talked about the carbon cycle a little bit, and of course the air, the nitrogen cycle, and the water cycle is also, we talked about it. So all these cycles included, and also the others like the oceanic cycles and the cycles of the wind, and how convectional currents and all these things are coming up, and how the earth's temperature is maintained through this kind of cycles, you know the cycles of the seasons and all these kind of things. So we'll talk about the natural cycles there. um, we'll talk of the sun, we'll talk of the moon, we'll talk of the soil, we'll talk of the trees and their importance. Like everything has its own purpose. So, for example, if we say the sun, uh, the simplest way that we understand is we are going to use solar panels, or we're going to use solar cookers. So, we'll cover that also. But what is the part the sun plays? At a spiritual level, also, what is the sun playing the part? So I'll give you an example. If the sun is existing, it's existing with its gravity. So the mightiness of the sun is the reason why the planets are revolving around it. So the word Gurutva Akarshan, Gurutva Akarshan is based on basically it's the simple principle that the earth is held by something which is a guru. A guru is something bigger, a grander thing. So the earth is held by the guru power, the gurutva of the sun, and that is creating the akarshan. So that is creating the gravity force that is holding the planets, and is holding all this. Meteorites and asteroids are coming and held in the asteroid belt and all these things. Everything is held by the sun because of its mightiness, and how we also too get attracted to the right person if he has the gurutva, if he has the guruness inside him, if he's practicing the same. So spiritual aspects of like this, and spiritual doses of this kind of things will also be talked on. I think it's necessary. We don't need to objectify things as much, but we also need to feel the gratitude that we are giving, that we have been given by nature. So we'll talk about those kind of things. The moon, as I said, it has a gravitational pull of its own. A simple example is that when we go to a sea or a beach, sometimes the water is so far down the beach, and then when we are going on other days, the water is so near to the beach. So that's happening because of the gravitational pull of the moon, you know. And all of us are more than 70% water, so obviously something will happen inside our bodies also. And when the moon is near and orbiting near the earth, so also the moon is at an elliptical orbit. So when it's near to the earth, it has different sort of attractive power, and gravitational pull is pulling all the things that is possible to be pulled. So the solid things don't move as much, but the liquid part, the sea and the oceans, move towards the moon, and that's how we get the low tides on the other end, on the other side. So, and how that affects now farming and agriculture, and how it affects everything else, and the importance of the moon, you know. Why is it needed to keep the earth in its sidereal rotation of 23 degrees? If the moon was not there, then the earth would be rotating something like this. Just because the moon is existing, it's rotating at a sidereal degree of 23 degrees, you know. And it's just stable there, day and night, every day. We can actually plan calendars hundreds of thousands of years ahead of us right now, simply because of the moon keeping the earth's orbit in check. So this is the kind of things that we want to discuss. I jotted down the soil and its importance. We talked about this also in this course. The trees, what is their purpose? As we said, simply in the agriculture part, they are perching grounds for the birds. You know, if they were there, and they are acting as the fertilizers, the natural fertilizer creators. They're digging into the earth core, and they're converting the bedrock. You know, the solid part of the earth, and they're converting it into nutrients by dissolving the nutrients, by emitting nitric acids and hydrochloric acids and fluoric acids down there on the under the earth's surface, and then dissolving those bedrocks, and then bringing up the nutrients, and then using it as foliage, then downing the leaves on the earth's surface. So the importance of trees, how we need to connect with them, how we need to feel gratitude about them. Spiritual aspects definitely everywhere, touching every point of the every point of the way. The oceans, the importance of the oceans, coral reefs, and how the ocean is actually a great absorber of carbon, because most of the earth's surface is covered with water, right? And if we use the water in the right way, in the sense that we understand the water and we don't pollute the oceans, then it actually is a very good breeding ground for all this grass and weeds in the sea. And they are actually going to capture more carbon dioxide than any of our trees will ever will, because the trees are growing on something, this is just 30% of land, but the rest of the planet is just oceans. So we need to focus on how to work with that 70%, and need to understand of what things pollute these oceans, and how need to stop the cycle, the wrong cycle from happening. And once we do that, the nature will also kick in with the right cycles. Obviously it's already existing there, but we are somewhere hindering down on the we are harming the coral reefs and all this kind of habitable places that the small animals and fish live inside. We'll talk about the rivers and its importance. You know, the Earth's core. What is the Earth's core, and what's its purpose, and how its magnetic field is generated, and how it's used by the birds to migrate. Uh, what is the importance of volcanic activity, and how it is linked with the Earth's core, and how it replenishes the planet's surface, and how the tectonic plates keep on moving and changing the shape, but at the same time replenishing the nutrients in a cyclic manner. Uh, One last thing I jotted down was technology and how to use it. So we are aware of a lot of technological things and technological gadgets. There is a simpler way of understanding these technologies. So, for example, if you look at a bicycle, it's this invention of science, because it uses human energy and it uses gears, and you're traveling with a cycle or a bicycle. But technological advancement made the cycle into a motorcycle, or it made into a scooter. So now technological advancements have their own places where they give you the advantage, but also they generate heat, they generate a lot of noise, they generate a lot of recycling problems. So how we need to understand technology, and how we need to maybe give a little bit rest to them sometimes. How you need to dispose technological gadgets, So we'll talk about that, how we need to repurpose them also. We have laptops and laptop batteries and mobile batteries all going down into the drain somewhere, and that's creating a lot of havoc. So how to reuse and repurpose technological gadgets, that's definitely, I think, one of the better courses that we need, especially in this day and age of technology. So a little bit diversion we did today, but I think it's necessary. All these topics are interlinked, and I think somewhere, if you are finding resonance with them, we'll keep you posted on them, and I'd hope to see more with you, collective of people who are with you. You can give a guidance of how and what kind of resources we're going to use, and we will be committing to make a community that is linked to bettering the planet. So it's a big initiative, but as they say, journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So this is one way of my taking this first step. I hope to see you again and share with you what I'm going to plan next. And it's going to be reasonably priced. It's not going to be just out there to get uh, the cream from the people, but rather to create a community of people to come together and learn together through this new technological way of connecting through the online medium. So I hope to see you guys again soon. We'll keep ourselves posted and keep the videos coming in and the questions coming in. And I'd like to end today's session a little bit earlier. If we have any questions, we can take them. But I think it's a really good initiative that we want to start with every Sunday. And this is also dedicated to kids also. So, yeah.
Yeah, Janak, it sounds interesting. So, Janak, I just propose, is it possible for you to suggest or guide us through that which are the vegetables that can be planted at this time of the year
Yeah,
and the gardening tools? So, if
you're
someone
right.
has like a small land, they can do it there. If someone wants to put it in planters, they can do it in that.
Right.
But can you just walk us through the process, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would like to know is maybe all the users in the group, I'll just post it. Maybe you can share your location and your type of climate, because this kind of things are really related to the way and place that you are yourself. So, for example, if I was in Africa, there'll be another answer to this. If I was in, obviously you get the message. So the
Yes.
climate conditions that you're in, and then the sort of is it hot or cold,
Right.
and obviously the month, we know, all of us we know that, but the climatic conditions that you're in, that will be helpful. And the location, like Hyderabad, or yeah, the location is Bangalore or somewhere down in the south, so that also helps a lot. So I'll
Sure, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
So I'll share this details, and I have a graph. Sorry, a worksheet where you can have a lot of things sorted out just by putting in your details like that. So it's basically, you just see where you're on and which month you are in, and then you just see what you can grow there at that place. And the best way to grow is, obviously, we can discuss that in the group after that.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to leave. Yes. Yes, Conley.
Let
Yes.
us suppose that, we have put many fertilizers in in whatever we are doing in our, this, maybe the grass is there, maybe some flowers are there, but
Right.
all the we have put all the fertilizers, maybe they are chemical, or we are not
Right.
very sure because so
Right.
how much time it takes to make that land or make that place organic? If we put these slurries and all that,
Okay.
will it be, organic, or it will be having those chemicals still? And how much time
Okay.
it takes for?
Okay. A really good question. If you see it in a clinical sense, it takes 10 years for the soil to get lynched off the chemicals, and even organic certification happens after 10 years. So, for example, if when I was in my farm, there was a portion that, because the farm was not handled by me before, so it was handled by some contractor. So I actually got certification after 10 years. So they will come, they will check, they will find the pesticides and chemicals, and then they will say, okay, we'll come after 10 years. So that's how rude it is, and that's how actually clinically That's the amount of time it takes. So basically what happens, the rain comes for 10 years on your soil, and then slowly the chemicals dissolve away. But I'll give you a hack for this. You don't need to worry so much because it's a clinical thing. A small percentage of the pesticide or the chemicals will be there. It's not an issue. You just need to focus on increasing the microorganisms and the worms and all this. So for example, if you increase the number of worms in your garden, how do you do that? So you just basically simply mix jaggery with water, and you give it to your farm and in your garden. So what the jaggery does is activates the microorganisms to eat as food. So now the earthworms is also coming to, after that, to eat that kind of soil. So this is just a simple way of hacking into and making the microorganisms go faster and faster. Since these are all controlled portions of the land, um, it takes faster to recover as compared to farms, where in the farms it's very hard to remove the chemicals, with so much of effort. Is in the farms are very big in size, so they cannot use jaggery water everywhere. That's going to be expensive for the farmer. But since this is our lawn or our garden, we can use x amount of a couple of thousand rupees in jaggery and mix it with water and then just spread it in the garden. Now that will activate the earthworms to come in, and when the earthworms come in, they'll start digging in, and then once they start digging in the tunnels, then you water the lawn or the garden, so the chemical leaching happens faster. So once you know all these rules and the way the gardening happens naturally, you'll also understand how it's easy it is to recover from that. So I'm saying 10 years, but if you are very proactive and you are dedicated to you making your lawn perfect, then I'll just give you hacks like this. For example, use jaggery water on your garden and then just see what happens with the earthworms, and then start watering it a little bit more, and keep on mulching, green mulching. Keep the dead leaves on top of it, and the earthworms will come and dig. So all the nutrients will be recycled back, and the new nutrients will go inside, deep inside, and you'll get your soil recovered like maybe in a couple of years. So that's how it works.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So we'll end the session here at least, and then on the group we'll keep on continuing to have contact. Um, I hope I've covered almost everything that you need to know about gardening. There are obviously a lot to learn, but basics of gardening we are definitely equipped to do that, and we should get started as soon as possible if the words are right. Yes. So thank you very much. I'll end the session here, and we'll get back to our group and start posting there and sharing there. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janak. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste. Yes.